Hi, and welcome to the Savvy Singers TV show. I am your host, Marlon Bailey. And again, I'm so elated, excited to be in your space. Thank you for inviting us. And today we continue our discussion where we get into the heart of the community here at PRVM, the Performing Arts Academy. And we have a young lady that, has grown through the inception, the middle stages, going through all the development, and she's seeing this beautiful transition of the Performing Arts Academy. And we want to get into her heart, get into where she is now, what it was like, going through there. And you will all smile when you see who our guest is today. Welcome, Shereese on the inside.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
for having me on your show. I'm kind of excited actually to get into it and to have a little bit of an inside conversation.
Nice. It's so honored to have you on this side because normally you're the one directed. If you have any questions,
side, behind the scenes.
Yeah, talk to Shereese.
Yes.
So we are literally talking to Shereese today.
Now we're actually talking to Shereese.
And you'll get a little insight of who Shereese is. So
right.
Tell us, who is Shereese? Going through your personality, your likes,
right.
that kind of thing.
Who is Shereese? That's a big question.
Yeah.
If I had to summarize it as best as I could, I am probably one of the few people who has the inside and the outside view of the academy. So when it comes to that, that's who Shereese is.
Yes.
I am kind of the person that people come to and they're like, okay, I have a question about this.
Correct.
What do we do? Where do we go? Where's this information? Where does this go?
Correct.
That's kind of what I do and that function that I fulfill, right? But as a person, I guess I'm just a person.
She's just a person.
I'm just a person. But I'm really introverted. I've developed and I've come to find that I am a bit of a creative, but a highly technical and very step-by-step to myself kind of person.
Yes.
So it took some time for me to develop the behaviors and attributes of extroversion to be able to function in the space surrounded by all these people.
Correct.
And, having to interact and integrate and do that because I would very much prefer to sit in a corner.
Yes.
Behind a screen.
Yes.
Right? And just read a book, whatever. That's what I like as a person. But of course, the role calls for different things and you have to be flexible. So I've developed that over time.
That's right. How is that managing? Because the Vocal Academy, it was always in your space.
Yes.
Right? And like you said, now open to all these different personalities, different people coming in, always asking, Shereese, what's going on? How is that managing those personalities? And you said being able to adapt, and I think a lot of people struggle with that.
With the adaptability.
Yeah.
To be honest, it took some time.
Yes.
Now, to some extent, I've been used to it because I might have been about 5 when things kind of started happening in the house. But at that time, I would just go to my room.
Right.
Stay there, right? But as I got older, into my mid-teens and coming forward, I had to be involved, and I chose to be involved in a lot of different parts of things that required me to have conversations and be able to interact and integrate and whatever. And so it took some time for me to be able to kind of understand the personality types and how to be myself, but still manage the clinical kind of side of me because I'm very much, this is what we do, this is how we do it, get it done and let's move on. Right? But that doesn't always work with people, especially creative people. And so I've had to develop the personability and a nice way to say things that people feel good.
Exactly.
And it's a skill and a development that's benefited me, of course, because I do enjoy what I do and the role that I fulfill. Even though that type of personality is not native to me.
Right.
And so I did take some time to develop that kind of skill and grow into it as you grow into anything.
Right.
But it's something that it's beneficial to me and I'm grateful for having the experience.
Nice, but you do good because I interact with Shereese, every time I come in, even now more so with the Savvy Singers TV, you're still a part of that. And you know, you're very welcoming. You know, it's the smile. You know, you make you laugh. Could I help you?
Right.
That kind of thing. So you always have that kind of, you exude that. So you have that ability to make people feel at home and comfortable in their space. And I appreciate that about you. Yes. And I'm going through, so let's go into your role here at PRVM. So now you've no longer 4. Now you understand that this is a real thing happening.
This is a real thing. Yeah.
So take us through your role and function.
Well, it started small, and as I've grown, it's grown. So it started with basic administrative type of things, and that was at a stage. I started teaching.
Yes.
And so that required me to develop a subset of skills. I started teaching adults because I started with teaching kids, which I love. I love them. Oh. But I had to learn to deal with the adults too, right? And I started doing that, and then I started getting more involved in leadership and directing of groups and organization and logistics and events. And so I've done a little bit of everything at this point.
Yes.
I've done a little bit of the teaching. I've done a little bit of course development and growth and adaptation. I've done a little bit of dealing with the kids, dealing with the adults, with the choirs, the worship teams, the performing, the arrangements, the choreography.
Rollouts.
I've done a little bit of the event coordination and doing things like networking. And I've had to grow into a lot of these multiple functions. So I don't have a job description anymore.
Wow.
I just have all these little skills that I've amassed over time in the role.
I love it.
I've been groomed and built into this entity of capacity.
I think, you know, being a creative is sort of a lens to that, you know, the mindset and everything else. And their personal development, would you say that you had to like take time to really, you know, go hard and develop certain things?
Yes.
Pull information, you know, get help like you.
So I am not the type of person that will come and say, I need help.
Oh.
That is not a natural thing for me to do.
Wow.
And so I have developed the ability to go and do research.
Right.
So if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to find out. Right? And if I absolutely cannot find it, then I'll come and say, okay, I need this information. And so I've had to develop the humility to say, I need help. That is not natural to me. I don't like to do it, but sometimes it's necessary. You can't do everything, you don't know everything, and sometimes you have to say, I need help. And so that is a personal development thing that I definitely had to learn. But also, I've had to collect skills. And so they say you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I've also had to find I guess the word is self-control and the commitment to master a few things. To be able to do major things really well.
Execute.
So that the supporting things will support something that's done well. Because even if you support the big things with a bunch of other skills, if that's not done well, the whole thing could crumble anyways, right? So I've had to develop the self-control and the discipline to master the major and the most important fundamentals.
Love that.
So that's another personal development kind of thing that I needed to do.
That's good. I love that. And we want to look at, you know, you're the daughter of Shellyan.
Yes.
Right? The daughter of Richard.
Yes.
Uncle Richie.
Very much so.
And you have a sister, yes, who's also a part of everything. What was it like growing up, you know, in the household? And then dad and his profession, mom developing and growing this community.
Right. So I like to say that I am a hybrid. You know, we have hybrid vehicles. I'm a hybrid person. And when I say that, I mean that I very much naturally have a lot of personality traits like my father. Technical, kind of strategic. Okay, this is what needs to be done. Let's get it done. A little bit transactional, preferably, you know, to myself and introverted. But I've also been able to collect and develop the people skills from my mother. And I've also been able, in the space that she's created, to hone the creative side of myself that I didn't really take up much, you know, interest in for a really long time. Until I was put into that space, I was like, you know, this is actually a thing that I enjoy. This is actually natural to me. I could do that, you know. So one of the things I think that comes with being in that space of your Shelley's daughter, your Richard's daughter, is expectation. And I don't love it. I have to be honest, I don't love it.
I appreciate the honesty because sometimes it's pressure.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, it's the expectation that you know, you are whatever people think you are.
Yeah.
Or you're supposed to be whatever people think you're supposed to be. And I think the challenge that I faced with that at the age that I was is that I didn't know who I was supposed to be yet.
Right.
I was still figuring that out. So why are you mad at me for not being whatever you think if I don't even know who I am yet?
That's powerful.
Right?
That's powerful.
And I had to learn how to release that and allow people to believe what they believe or think what they think and still be able to be myself and to also accept that I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm on my journey and I don't have to meet the expectations. So it comes with expectations, but it's also given me the opportunity to learn that. The ability to release the expectations and just be and grow.
Be your individual self.
That's it,
who you are. Develop who Shereese is.
Exactly.
Yes, and still be able to expound on life and your experience and everything else. And you spoke about the creative side of you. And, you know, even when I joined the community, coming to the choir, and then, you know, we started adding all these different elements. So now it's not just singing. Now you have supporting cast.
Right.
And some of the supporting cast are the dancers.
Right.
Right. So how do you come in? Now, Shereese is a phenomenal. She execute the moves gracefully, and she actually teaches choreograph movements. Yes.
To an extent,
So tell us a bit about that.
Well, my grandfather pastored a church while I was a very small child, right? So I didn't go to church with my parents. I went to church with my grandparents. I used to say I go with my families. And I'd spend the weekend there, and I'd go to church with them on a Sunday. And in that space, there was a dance team.
Right.
So at around 7-ish, I joined into the dance team because you're in Sunday school and the Sunday school kids are going to do a dance. And so you get into that. And so that's kind of where I started doing that. And then I continued, and of course that transition as PRVM grew and the events grew, the dancing was part of the performance. So I continued to do that, and I continued to grow in that. And I realized that it's something that came naturally to me to an extent. And it's something that I enjoyed doing. It brought me a sense of, you know, some release, and I enjoyed that. So it came to a point where I realized, okay, I need to be better at this beyond what I could learn at home and what I can do naturally and beyond what's on YouTube. So I enrolled in a dance academy, and I spent a year there learning some very crucial, fundamental, technical things in a variety of different skill sets and genres to take myself beyond the point of, okay, this is kind of good, to, okay, I know now how to help a team get to a more professional-esque level, right? So I'm not saying a professional team, but add some elements of skill and technique that will make us look more professional.
And you do that very well.
I've had some help along the way, I have to say, because of course before I was at the point where I was willing to take it over, we had people, we had Andrea, we had Shadi, we had Camille, who committed a lot of time to leading a team and kind of gave me insight into how I could lead the team and keep that continuity flowing. And then when I was able to take what I learned from shadowing them to combine with what I learned technically. And then, of course, my sister is a huge, huge part of choreography. That child could dance, right? She has never been trained. She's never been taught beyond what I've told her. She could dance, right? And she's been dancing since she's like 4 years old, right? And so she's been doing that her whole life, and she's really good at it. And so she supports me very, very well. There's certain things that I'm just not good at, and she's great. And of course, over the years, we've also had some other girls, the dance elite, especially for the past 2 years, who came in and they brought their skills and they brought their technique and they brought their strengths as well. And that pushed me because, of course, I'm leading a team. And so I can't lead the team and not be, you know, matching up or be at that level. And so I continue to learn, and I learned from them, they learned from me, we work together, we develop things. And sometimes we challenge each other in a great way that push us all to develop better skill sets and to create a higher level of performance over time.
Wow. So amazing to know that what you're doing and the application of it. And you spoke about your sister Chantal.
Yes.
you know, and being, you know, marrying that, the siblings working together to add, you know, that different, and seeing mom's vision unfold. How, I mean, sitting back and looking at it. We are actually on the set of Savvy Singers TV.
Yeah, we
you
are.
Understand? What's the feeling of that? You know, sometimes like you go into your quiet space
Yes.
and you think about it and you say like, wow, you know,
This is a real thing.
we are here.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
I think because it's always been a part of my cognitive life. I mean, 4 years old is really young, right? That's when you now start to know yourself. So from then to now, it's been a really, really intense journey, and we've come quite a ways over the last like 2 decades, right?
Yes.
So to watch it go from the back room of the apartment to now this whole set, and we have all these different spaces, we have amassed all this equipment, we've grown to so many people, we touch so many people. It's an intense experience.
Yes. Yes.
And it is something that I have to sit back and look at it from a detached perspective, because when you're in the middle of it, it's normal to you.
Right.
Right? So this is regular.
I
So we
understand.
transform a space and we do something because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
You know, we go to an event and we put off a show because that's what we do. Right? But sometimes I have to kind of step back and look at it from an alternative perspective that's not like my inside view, and say,
Understood.
wow, this is a real thing.
It's real.
Like, we did that.
You know?
We did that. And it's a little bit of an amazing
telling
experience
you.
because, again, it's that inside-outside view. 'Cause
Right.
I've been a student, I've been a teacher,
Right.
I've been a part of the show, I've been behind the scenes of the shows. And so to sit back and say, wow, we have created this platform that so many people now have this opportunity, and to see what's come of it and how it's impacted people, it's really intense. It's intense.
Yeah. Yes. To take us into being a student at PRVM, where there's my mom's school.
Right.
You understand? No blinds, no exceptions.
There is no special treatment, right? Now, if I'm being honest, I think that I was pushed a little harder.
Right.
And the reason that is not because anybody was like picking on me,
No.
but it's that I'm always here. I don't get to go home. So when I am practicing in my quiet time, somebody is shouting from like the kitchen, like, release your toes.
Right.
They're like, okay, you need to do that. That note wasn't right. Okay, try this, do that, drop this.
Oh
and
my
so
gosh.
it's a constant kind of experience.
Yes.
And then there's, of course, the expectation, like, you can't be my child and not take it seriously.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is fair. I mean, everybody else is taking it seriously. You can't be here all the time. You can't have this same opportunity and not take it seriously and not put, you know, your best foot forward. And so I also put a sense of like pressure on myself because people are looking.
Right.
And that's always kind of a facet of the position and the role, and it's that people are looking because people know of you, and so they're looking. They want to know, like, hey, what is she really about, right? And so there's no special treatment in the teaching. There's no special treatment in the learning. You have to go through the process like everybody else. You're going to get graded like everybody else, okay? And if it wasn't good, they're going to tell you it wasn't good, right? So it was an interesting experience to have the classroom experience from the student perspective before I had the classroom experience from the teacher perspective. Right. But I do think that having the classroom experience from the student perspective helped me in the function of the teacher perspective, because now I know the other side. And if I need this explained to me, how would I want somebody to explain it to me? What would I need for somebody to communicate this to me so that I get it and break it down? So that internal student experience gave me a great platform for the teaching side of things.
Nice. So Shereese, we're wrapping up here. So I want you to give us your final thoughts, your closing remarks to those who are venturing into the vocal school. You know, that's one.
Right.
And someone who is, like yourself, struggling, or where you were before, struggling with understanding personalities. You say, oh, I'm an introvert, you know, but you're being moved into all these other directions.
Right.
You know, how do you manage that and being able to take your time through the process from where you were to now? So speak to us.
Okay. So I think for anybody who's trying to get into music, get into vocals, anything like that, as with anything else in life, if there's something that you want to do and something that you believe in, do it. It can only go a couple of ways. One, it goes really, really well, and if it does, then great. If it doesn't go that well, then you can say, okay, I've learned this and I'm going to try it again and I'm going to do better like this. Or I'm going to take this lesson and I'm going to develop myself. Or you could say, okay, that really sucks. I'm never going to do that again, right? But you have earned the experience.
Correct.
And whether you continue with it or you don't, you've learned something that will help you. And you don't sit and wonder, okay, what would have happened if? Right? So if you really believe in something and you want to try it, you want to do it, do it. But be willing to commit yourself to it so you make the most of the investment you're about to make.
Yes.
So that is with anybody wanting to try to get into music, get into singing, get into training, that. When it comes to being who you are and finding that and going through that process, I think the key thing is that people will talk about you no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? So get a clear understanding of who you are and give yourself grace to grow.
Yeah.
But also learn that you have to be adaptable. Because your most comfortable way is not always going to be the best way, right? So you have to be flexible enough,
yes,
right, to learn different behaviors to accommodate in certain instances.
Nice.
But allow yourself to be yourself,
yes,
in those instances.
Yes.
And remember that whatever people are thinking about you is not your business. That is a personal problem. If somebody has a problem with you, who you are naturally, not if you're being rude and snappy, don't be rude to people, right? What people say about you is not your business. People matter, but their opinions don't matter as much. So love people and value them, but do not define yourself by their opinions.
Wow.
Be yourself, be a good person, be flexible, be adaptable, but do not define yourself by the opinions of other people.
Thank you so much, Shereese, for being so powerful. I love that closing remark. Thank you so much. Be yourself. People's opinions is just that. It's an opinion. Understand who you are. Have the confidence on who you are. Talk to your Heavenly Father. Find out your purpose. Go at it hard.
That's right.
You understand? And I love what she says. Give yourself the grace and the time to grow into who you want to be. Yes, thank you so much for being with us here at the Savvy Singers TV. Remember, we are coming at you every Sunday at 4 p.m. Thank you so much. Love you guys.